Well, what a week. Welcome to Beers with Rich. I'm Rich, editor of Under the Radar Report. Well, we're still in the midst of our celebrations. 10 years ago we opened our doors, and I must admit it's been a great deal of fun spreading the word about the miraculous turns you can make from small ASX listed companies, which we affectionately call small caps. We love it. We love it here at Under the Radar. And today I'm going to talk about the big trends driving those small caps home, making the big money, the big trends that we're seeing at the moment, which are only going to accelerate. And small caps are the best place to access those trends because you get what's called leverage. That's right, you get a bigger bang for your buck. Let's just make a toast to that. Let's get the beer out. Another one from the Ben Toomey Southern Highlands stable, Celtic Red Ale. It's supposed to go well with sausages. Ooh, the COVID sound getting quieter now as we slipstream through to the end. It's not bad actually. So, yeah, another craft beer disruptor. Well done. But we're toasting to a giant in the small pond of Australian telco executives. This guy is a man I've admired for a long time, David Teoh. I mean, the idle speculators made a lot of money from him, investing in his TPG vision, being the low-cost disruptor in telecommunications. And now we're doing the same in his lesser-known Tuas, which is a spin-off, basically, that emerged from the merger between TPG and Vodafone. So Vodafone Hutchison. So, we love disruption. David Teoh gave us the best birthday present we could have asked for. This week, Tuas flew up 30%. Now it's returned 150% on where we tipped it. So thank you very much, David. We'll be taking that one to the bank. But I think there's a key learning as well as, backing the man, i.e., a seasoned operator who's doing the same sort of strategy in the Singapore market as he did in Australia. The key learning is that when fund managers throw stuff away, we can pick it up, and make a lot of money from it. Like, basically, the bottom line is that spin-offs are always interesting. You should always have a look at them because, for these guys, for these top 200 fund managers who invest in the top 200 companies, TPG was a core holding. And then when they did the spin-off, they think, well, I don't need this Tuas. What am I holding that for? So they throw it away. So when they throw it away, that creates opportunity for people like us, retail investors. So we got into the stock very quickly after it floated, and 3 months later we were covering it, and we moved quickly, and now look at the result, toasting a beer to another David Teoh success. David Teoh, okay, Vodafone, as I mentioned before, we're looking at the themes accessing the future. One of those themes was founders, backing a founder. Okay, that's always been the case and will always be the case, which I've discussed on previous Beers with Rich. But other themes that I found, like we covered in depth 10 themes this week, other themes that I found really interesting were AI. I mean, AI, artificial intelligence, is cropping up everywhere. You can't get away from it. I mean, companies down from Rio Tinto, to small caps that are, nano caps, they're all trying to access this AI robotic trend. I mean, but the difference, as I was saying before, in small companies is you get much more bang for your buck. The chances are low, but the rewards are high. And the key is in AI, there's no standard. So, like in the small cap world, you're looking at people kind of covering new ground that hasn't been covered before. We look at a number of companies in this week's issue, but a couple that come to mind: BrainChip, Lineus Technologies, Bill Identity. We mention more, but those three will get you started. FinTech, let's talk FinTech. I mean, that arguably has been our most successful area really of the emerging trends, with famously Afterpay and Zipco. But for every Afterpay, there are literally thousands of others. I mean, this industry, FinTech, is hideously competitive. Speaking of which, let's just have another sip of beer. But we think that the prospects for someone coming up with a killer app in FinTech is probably higher than other areas. Like, PayPal have proved this. So have Afterpay. Ones that come to mind, Novarti, which I think took a stake in Reckon, 8VI Holdings, Self-Wealth. We list a lot more in the issue, and we're going to be covering them in future issues. So there's a lot to look forward to. But before I get to what there is to look forward to, let's look at what's in this week's issue with the last sort of theme that I've been banging on about, which is ESG, environmental, social and governance. Now this is like basically, in almost every single report you'll read. But I mean, like everyone's trying to reduce carbon, that's a fact. But like some are actually basing their whole business around it. Like Vulcan Resources, which we covered in July, more than doubled. Their whole strategy is designed around ESG. So we mentioned this stock. We cover this stock again in this week's issue. But I guess you can't go past this kind of emerging green world without mentioning our old friend, Twiggy Forrest. Yep, Twiggy, where there's when you're talking about the future, when you're talking about publicity, Andrew Forrest is where it has, he's always in the right place at the right time. And if you'll forgive me for saying this, has a number of irons in the fire in this space. So basically he's using his own operations as a testing ground for non-emission equipment. So this is good on for several reasons. But green steel, which is going to have a huge market in places like Europe where they're going to have a carbon tax. But also he's going to be producing hydrogen that he's going to sell commercially as a new business. So this is the real sort of innovation we're seeing. And Andrew Twiggy Forrest has to be commended for embracing the future. So what's coming up? Well, we've got a new nickel stock lined up, which is pretty exciting. But as I said, we've been going over like a huge number of stocks. We're going to be inundating you with number of stocks that relate to the 10 key themes we outline in this issue. So, some of these stocks come from subscribers and some of them come from our network of fund managers and friends. But we take ideas from anywhere. Like we are ideas agnostic. We don't care. We just want to make money. So we're going to be rolling them out with our thoughts over the next few weeks, and that's worth a toast. So here's to emerging from lockdown. Here's to an exciting future.